Advanced animation. Hello. I'm going to do two videos. One is just kind of reviewing Mudbox and how you can set yourself up for your monster head or your self portrait for success. Just kind of going between Mudbox and Maya, just giving you a few pointers. You might not need to do this first video, it might be useless, so I'll go fast. And then I want to talk about creating the UV map and getting started on your color bump and spec map. This will be to be continued next week. All right, so let's look at my self-portrait. All right, so here is my self-portrait. I've done better. I could do better, right? But now that you know Mudbox, um, this is a great way to clean up some of the stuff here in Mudbox. So I got these wrinkles, I got these weird creases. My nose is way off. There's problems. It wasn't perfect. So now that you know both programs, you can send them to and back and forth between each other. Sometimes when you install it, you're not going to get the send to Maya. Something in my install went wrong. Something in your install might go wrong. So you might not have the send to Maya. The ones in the lab have it, and this one doesn't. So if you are running out of, if you don't have the send to Mudbox, here's one thing you can do. And you're going to see some problems. This is all troubleshooting. You're going to see a lot of problems come up here. So if I go here and I choose File, Export Selection, Options, I'm going to choose OBJ. Now, you might not have that OBJ option. So another thing to look out for is you go to Windows and you go to the plug-in. So if I go to my Settings and Preferences Plugin Manager, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Mudbox is not there for some reason, but OBJ is, and I want to make sure that's loaded, and hit refresh or browse and close. Once that's loaded, now I can export as an OBJ. So you might not have that option checked on. So once again, that's Window, Settings and Preferences Plugin Manager. So now I can ship this out as an OBJ. So I'm going to go to File, Export Selection, and now choose Options. Choose OBJ. Include these inputs. Sure. I can actually not. I could take a few of these off, but I'm just going to just let it go full out. And I can make sure that's selected and hit Export Selection. Go to my desktop and let's call it Selfie Quads. Boop. Export Selection. There's going to be a problem with this. I'm going to show you the problem with this. Well, let's go there right now. Let's just show you the problem and I'll come back. I'm going to import this into Mudbox. I can just drag. I just literally dragged. Let me cancel that import. Do that one more time. I'm in a new Mudbox. This file, nice open file. I can literally just take from the desktop, the OBJ file, and just drag it in there. And it's going to have a problem. I messed up a few parts on my thing. You might have this problem too. So I'm going to say, keep this mesh. It's going to give me all these problems. You've seen these problems. You can get rid of these under display, but it means that you need to get fixed. This needs to be fixed. So under the select move tools in Mudbox, I'm going to choose objects, and I'm going to select the object, and I'm going to go to mesh and choose retopologize. That's going to cause a break of my computer, and that's going to cause some issues. Okay. Sometimes you can rebuild a subdivision level. That's still going to cause an issue. I'm still going to get an error, right? Let's see. Please don't freeze my recording. Can't do it. I'm trying to show you, like, if everything else gets broken, So you with your monster head or you with your self-portrait, you might be able to rebuild subdivision levels and retopologize. There's one more thing here where you can reduce the mesh. And if that doesn't cut, this one failed as well. These are all little things to kind of fix some of these red lines, aside from doing it manually, which would be a whole nother lesson. So I'm going to show you one other method, which will get you a lot closer to where you want to go. So I'm going to go to File, New. I'm going to go back to my Maya file. And I've already saved as, I'll save as again, and I called it Triface 2. And one thing I can do is sometimes when you get it reduced down to triangles, the retopology becomes easier in Mudbox. So let's see what will happen there. If I go to modify, if I go to mesh and I just choose triangulate, and what's going to do is it's going to cut everything into triangles the best way it can. It changes the mesh a little bit. And now if I export this out as an OBJ, I'll export selection, OBJ, and I'm going to export that selection and I'm going to call it selfie tries and hit export selection. Mudbox is going to have an easier time making quads out of it. So with my new scene here, I can drag that into here. I keep that mesh. Still got my problems, but now when I select it as an object and I go to create and I choose retopologize, new operation, I'm just going to hit retopologize and go. Ignore the errors and continue. Now, it's going to look like it's causing a problem, but it really isn't. It's going to duplicate itself, and this is going to take a while. So someone will always ask why triangles, not quads. What triangles, you'll put those in a game engine. Lots of games work on triangles still. And what it does is it allows, by having this triangle here, it allows Mudbox to make different decisions about what to make quads. Some will be obvious like this square, but then over here, it gives Mudbox, it gives its algorithm a few more options to kind of recombine and do stuff. So it'll be cleaner to work with in Mudbox. That's why we're doing it. This is all optional, by the way. This is just one more thing to kind of help clean up, and maybe you weren't completely happy with the way your model turned out. This is going to give you a few more things to do to make it look better. Still going. And, it says it can't do it, but it did do it. It did. It's lying to you. There's two of them. So if I go to translate here, I move this over, whoop, I have a pretty retopologized face right there. So that's my triangle face, and this is my square face, right? So if I just click here and delete it, for some reason, Mudbox wants me to quit and open. So I'm going to wipe, and I've restarted my Mudbox, did a save as, and I have this nice, wonderful, new quadded out, really high level detail smoothing. Now, you go to your sculpt tools, you smooth. I got some smoothing issue. Oops, let me get off the selection, click back to selection. There we go. And I can figure this stuff out. So I can go to smooth here, double check that you're doing a mirroring. It's on a local X. Double check that you're smoothing. I know what I wanted to share. The size difference of scale in Mudbox and Maya is set to two different defaults. This is actually very small. The head here from Maya is actually much smaller than the head here in Mudbox, so it really helps to kind of scale out. The tools will behave better. So if you're importing something from Maya as an OBJ or just sending it over, the sizes are usually big, very different. Scale them out. Your tools will behave better. I'm just going to get this. So I just hit scale. There's no hotkey. The W key R doesn't work in Mudbox. I'm going to raise it up just so I can see it better. And there we go. Then you can use all the sculpt tools that you know and love. Let me click off of it. Sometimes smooth. I got too many. Double click smooth. Sometimes it's helpful to reset smooth as well when you're having problems with it. I'm going to go back to mirroring my local. like that, how it was stuck on had the X graph. I have a really strong smooth setup right now. Oh, that's probably too weak. So M and B again, and I can just start smoothing out. I can remodel. Sometimes when you pull that out, get that, right? Just kind of fix my head up. And then go back to, or shift for smooth, and re-smooth that. Like right here, smooth is kind of excuse me. Smooth is not really behaving. When I click on smooth, I'm going to click reset. Get that set back to mirroring. And get this brush back to being big. All right. Ooh, really strong. Let's fix that too. And get to smoothing. I can sculpt. Go back to sculpt. Sculpt. There we go. Smooth. It's not smoothing. Like here, I can make my ear bigger. Or I'm not bigger. I'm sorry. I lost some of the detail on my ear at some point. So if I wanted to resculpt, I'm going to add some subdivision levels. Boop. There you go. I'm going to shift S for smooth. It's a little bit bigger. And my smooth tool is not working right now, which I'm going to chalk up to too many programs open. Other things I could do is touch up on my nose. For example, my nose is very, very I don't have that crease right here. I can go in here with grab or sculpt and use that control to invert it. And shift for smooth, which isn't working for some reason right now. It was just working a second ago. I'm assuming if I close Photoshop, it'll come back. And there, that's back. Reset. Bring that down. Bring that down. M&B, and still not working. Okay. Other things I can do here with sculpt is I can go in here and control. I don't want to give myself the cleft. That shapes my lip a little bit more, and I can just keep going. I'm obviously having too many programs open on my computer, plus recording, so I'm going to quit out of this. But I can either send this to Maya, but that's not working on my computer, so I can also export. And when I export my selection, I have to go back to Select Tool, Objects. You're going to see a better version of this I was doing when I wasn't recording. And I can go to File, export the selection, and I can choose FBX or OBJ. And that's going to give me my next little feature. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to quit and wipe. And I've come to work on my mud box head without recording, which got me a little bit better. And I have a lot more sculpture. I have a lot more shape to my nose. My nose is a little bit more accurate. I've resized it. I have my little cleft here. And I've changed a few things on my ears. I just have some better details. So this was the original one that we covered in the For Self-Portrait with Maya by tracing our face. This is a lower division of the subdivision in Mudbox, and then this is sculpted and a little bit better. So this is kind of where you'd want to be, or this one. There is a lot of faces here. You could go to go to Mesh, and you could actually unsmooth it, and that will decrease it. You lose, obviously with less mesh, you lose some detail, but that's still pretty good. If you wanted to, I'm going to save as. I'm going to call this one Finished Selfie with Mud Box. And if you wanted to, let me do one more. Last scene. Sorry, I'm going to. And if you wanted to, and if you didn't like your face, you could get that right in the middle. That's pretty good. There you go. I can just type in 0. Looks like that would be it. Perfect. You could model this into some sort of monstrous project. I'll talk about some options when you're doing your color things. But now we got a nice cleaner self-portrait head model. It's a little simple. I lost some of the details when I unsmoothed it. I could leave that there if I wanted to work with a lot of pixels, but I'm going to keep this one here for my example. So I'm going to save scene as. I'm going to call it my example selfie. So just some ideas of how to connect Mudbox and Maya. The same can go the opposite way. So if I, for example, let's just throw some in there. I'm going to make a new scene here. And if I go to Mudbox and just use the default, if I use the default Mudbox head, what's going to happen is I don't have the eye sockets and the mouth socket that I did with the tracing method. So another thing that might want to come in handy is it is hollow in there. So if I was, doing my little modeling, mirroring X, modeling my, get off the selection. Boy, come on. There you go. There you go. Doing my model thing, right? Cut a knife in there. Oop, wrong direction. Get a little stronger. All right, that's enough. There you go. That was crazy. And give me the smooth tool. All right. Anyway, make my monster. I could also I want you to do better than that, of course. Monster test to Maya. And I can ship this guy out, going back to my selection tool. I can do here. Again, you can send it to Maya, and Maya sends it back if you wanted to, if you have those features, or you can just keep exporting. Export the selection. Again, FBX OBJ. I'm going to call it face demo. Boop. Go back here and work on that. And whoa, okay, this is what I was talking about of how big the Maya file is compared, the Mudbox is compared to a Maya file. So you just shrink them down. It's okay. There's other ways to mix it. But then, like, I want to make my eye sockets here, right? So, 3 mode. 1, 2, 3. And this is what I did with Soka, which I'm going to show you in a second. Oops, I wanted symmetry selection on. There we go. That's a little off. All right. Same thing for the mouth. And then I would sculpt this. I can then send it back to Maya, either with an object export if I had the send to Maya option. And I can jump back and forth between the two. And that's okay to do. Some of you might be seeing these sculpting tools here. They work okay. They work way better in Mudbox though. So this is how you'd get your Mudbox model if you did a monster and choosing to do a model. This is how you get this to work back into Maya. So that would look like, for example, if you did something with, is it ready? Ahsoka Mud. That one? Too many files. There you go, right? So similarly, here is Ahsoka, and I've been shipping it back and forth between Maya and Mudbox, which is a slight pain in the butt when you don't have the send to Maya or send to Mudbox option. But I've been making it work, and let's see. And there she is, right here, which I think is the good one. So, just ways to make Mudbox and Maya work together. They should kind of complement each other, and they should notice I've scaled it way down or way up, depending on which way it was going. And we'll talk more about that next video. Good, so keep it up. That's my monster face, and then this is my self-portrait, which I will do both.